Damn, did I time that perfectly or did I time that perfectly? Holy shit, I impress even myself. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Buffy Toxic Rewatch. As we dive into episodes 7 and 8, Lie to Me and the Dark Age, I'm going to bring in my panel of guests and we're going to have a nice little discussion about season 2's episodes 7 and 8. Episode 7 being a very pivotal and important episode in every single season moving forward. But without further ado, from across the pond and my ever faithful stalwart companion, Northern English Bastard, how are you, my friend?
Hello, you beautiful bastards, and glad to be talking more on this awesome show. And yeah, we're getting very close to when the series really does start to get good. But so far, these are still okay episodes.
Excellent, excellent. And another friend from across the pond who you can see weekly, except not this week, I don't think, on Nadia's Horror with Nadia channel as we talk about Stranger Things. I believe we're in season 3 on that show right now. Mr. Toonie Boy. Toonie Boy, how are you, sir?
I'm splendidful as always, thanks. How goes yourself?
I'm okay. I'm gonna power through. I had myself a Monster Energy drink and rushed over here to the hotel. So right now, this moment in time, I'm doing all right. But before he passes away of old age, let's get Critter Kingsford in here. Critter, how are you, my friend?
What? Hello? Yeah, thanks, man. Listen, FYI, I turned 56 in 3 days.
Shit.
Okay?
Holy shit.
Hey, let's just put that out there, right? I'm going to be 56 in 3 days. I can still climb stairs, all right?
Okay.
Ridiculous.
You still make the pees and poops all by yourself, or does the nurse have to come over and help you with it?
Sometimes on the toilet.
That's amazing. That is
all by myself with no help.
That is fantastic. You know what? I'm just happy to have you around so that I don't have to be the oldest person all the time anymore. So that kind of makes me feel good. So let's take a look real quick at episode 7, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Lie to Me. I think you guys will like this.
His first boyfriend returns.
This is a wrong guy.
But his desires have an evil twist.
You make me a vampire, and I'll give you the Slayer. I love it.
An all-new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Next.
Yeah, I had to go deep into the VHS tapes to pull that one out. How'd that look?
Did the VHS tapes have those stingers?
Yeah, no, that's like recorded off a TV, bro.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right. Isn't that cool? I tell you, you say what you will, but in the 90s, man, you knew what you were getting into when you had a TV show that you liked, especially a genre show like Buffy. Like you knew, like, if you like Briscoe County or X-Files, any number, Millennium, any of those 90s, genre type shows, you knew what you were getting into. Brimstone, which I just talked about recently in a video, you knew as soon as you saw the promo for it or the stinger or whatever you want to call it, you knew what you were getting into when you watched the show. It wasn't something that just completely gave away the whole plot or whatever, but it gave you an idea of what, the kind of show it is that you're watching and enjoying. So, God damn, I miss that kind of programming. I hate where we're at right now. I don't know if you guys dig it or like it, or I know everybody has like their shows they like to binge. Certainly I do as well. But man, it is just a slog to get through. Like Toonie knows, like when we do Stranger Things, some of those episodes are great and I do enjoy them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that the production value has not gone up exponentially, but I will tell you, like, the plot and the heart of the stuff is and I hate to sound like a boomer, but really, like, it really feels like we've downgraded. Is that just me, or y'all feeling that too with TV shows nowadays?
I do agree, because I very rarely do I binge shows these days. I did it for a while when I first got Netflix, but then I started just getting bored with the program. So I kind of miss weekly programs, because they gave you something to look forward to for a good long while. They did.
Yeah.
But now they just pile them all on. You get through them, and then you have to fucking look forward to something else and look for something to look forward to.
Yeah. No,
I want to also say,
agree.
like, because of streaming, back in my day, it was like almost 12 or sometimes 24 episodes for a season, and now it's streaming you get 6 or 4. Now, granted, the BBC, like with Red Dwarf, you get 6 solid, for the most part, solid episodes. Now you get 10 episodes or 8 episodes. Let's say 2 of them are clunkers. You really don't have a solid season versus, let's use Next Generation season 1. Yeah, it started off clunky, but then you had, I think a full 12 episodes for that season, and you had a good 9 or even 10 solid episodes. So I think, never mind the fact that quality's gone down, but I think we're getting shorter amounts of shows, episodes per season, and it just drops on streaming. Everyone binges it the first 2 days, and then if it's crap, it just goes away. It just falls off the radar.
Yeah, it's all content for content's sake now. It is.
Yeah, I will say in Buffy's case, when you're watching episodes of Buffy, you know that you're building up the story as you go along. Each episode, you get more and more invested in the characters because you know that the story is going somewhere. It's not that there's anything quite wrong with serials, but there's like with serials, it's like they'll come up with an idea for the next episode, and then they'll just tack it on to the end of the story. And it'll just keep going on and on. But with Buffy, you know that that like every episode that passes, the story is moving forward towards a point. You've got something to be invested in, and I feel like that's what it's like. I like that idea. Like that idea is still present in some approaches to shows nowadays. It's just that the idea is often done really badly. In that, if like with the MCU, you've got like 20 shows that are all supposed to be linked together, but the shows themselves are all shit. They're all rubbish, so you don't want to watch them. You don't really. There's nothing to get invested in because the story you're getting invested in is rubbish. But the idea of several season shows that build up to a greater story, I like that. And I always think about how good it would be if we had a really good show based on the Destiny games, but without all of the bad writing in the Destiny games, and Gina Carano as the Titan protagonist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention
as well. And I can't notice as well that it's there's no free acts in episodes anymore. It's just like, okay, this happens, stop, then we continue on to the next one. And it's like you may as well just have made them into like just a movie.
With that glut of multiple Marvel shows, when there is a link, sometimes it's like really minor or of no consequence.
Yeah.
Just like I kind of feel the first few Marvel movies we're building up with those post-credit scenes, and it kind of linked to the next and the next. But then you have, like you said, like 17 shows, and it's like, oh, they're all connected, but sometimes quite weakly. Not day to day, but not strong, and not a strong connection.
Yeah, it's a bit like, for example, like with the MCU, they could build up, like they built up Iron Man's relationship with his father so much that when we get to certain scenes in the later movies, that's when we sort of feel the effects of having all that history in the earlier movies. But then a lot of stuff nowadays is basically just cameos and references.
Yeah,
it's really annoying because it's been said before about the MCU, but who's the villain? What's the story of phases 4, 5, and 6? Where are we going with this?
Writers.
It's just.
I'm glad you brought that up because just real quickly before we get into episode 7, Lie to Me, I want to I really feel that Joss Whedon and the creator and writer of Buffy, but also the fact that we had a situation where hang on one second. Talk amongst yourself for a second, guys. I got to deal with hotel business for a second there. I will remember my thoughts.
Yeah.
Sir, you can't have these trays in the hallway all night. What are you going to do about these empties?
I think what he was about to go for was that so in Buffy, like there's always like a consistent villain, which is the demonic threat. It's the Hellmouth, the demons. Now you know that eventually there is going to be an end to them. That there's going to be some kind of mastermind somewhere, or some kind of greater threat that's controlling them. And obviously in season 7 we do get that. I don't know if we're really doing spoiler stuff for season 7, so I guess I just won't risk it, to be honest.
I don't see why not. I mean, the show is from the 90s. It's okay to spoil.
Sure,
Well,
I don't mind it. It's just I'm not the host, so I'm not going to make that
I
rule.
mean, you know, go light on it. Give it a light touch. Just put the tip in and let's see how it feels when you're doing spoiler stuff. Don't ram
Phrasing.
What kind of podcast is this?
don't
Yeah,
ram
just
the whole thing in all at once.
Yeah, just tell you all the character deaths.
Yeah, don't do. Let's not do that yet. But yeah, no, I mean, fair play. So my point was, who the fuck gets up at fucking 7 a.m. at a hotel on Sunday, dude? It's like, sleep in, bro. Like, what? Like, dude, leave me alone. I'm doing my podcast. Anyway, so yeah, one of the things that I like about Buff, I really feel like, and I correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there's British shows that I'm not familiar with. There's stuff that you guys have seen that I have not seen. I mean, there's shows from the 1940s that Critter grew up with that I'm probably not super familiar with. But I really feel like Joss and his team came up with this concept. I know they came up with the expression, the big bad. The big bad is something that definitely Buffy singularized and brought into the zeitgeist. I know that I've read that somewhere where it's like certain terms that Buffy brought in, like just for example, you guys are gonna be blown away by this. Buffy, season 6 or 7, I don't know which one, Willow's character, came up with the phrase "Google me" or "Google yourself." That wasn't even in the zeitgeist until Buffy brought it in. That's crazy, right? But that's where that comes from. So just in the same way that like American Pie brought in the term MILF, this show, I hear keyboards clicking. Yes, you can fact check me. I don't give a shit. I know it's right. But bringing in the concept of a big bad, even if they hadn't coined the phrase, which they did, the big bad, and then they had the kind of the sub big bad or little big bad that would come in, but was always like switched out each season, and they did it in such a subversive way that you didn't even realize it was happening. Like you weren't even sure who the big bad was. And sometimes, like in season 2, they flip-flop because you think it's going to be the anointed one, and then it winds up being Spike, and then it winds up being somebody else here pretty soon. And then Spike winds up being the sub big bad, or the lower big bad, or whatever you want to call it, the enforcer. And they have that, and they carry that on into Angel for the most part in most of the seasons that he has. And it's done so well and so flawlessly and seamlessly. They stumbled a little bit in season 4 with it, but beyond that, I think the rest of the stuff that they do is so well done. And I'll point it out as we get to each season's, big bad and then little big bad, or whatever you call it. But that is one of the things that I think they have not managed to figure out with other TV shows. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys have seen something that does it just as well, or maybe even better, but I have not so far.
Yeah, all I was Googling before was what season, because you said it was either season 6 or 7, and I was just trying to wonder which season it was. I think it was season 7 that Willow mentions it. In terms of the big bad operating through like different lower level agents to achieve its goals before then coming to the forefront in the final act. One of my, while not used perfectly, favorite examples is the Reapers from Mass Effect. Each of the, I don't know who has played Mass Effect, or if they know the general idea.
Right.
But yeah, it's like you've got the 3 games, right? No one talks about the rest of them. In the first 2 games, you've got the big bad Reapers operating through another faction or another operating through another agent to achieve their ends. And then after the first 2 games, when you've beaten those, you've got through them, the Reapers basically just think, right, that's it, we're showing up ourselves now. Then you fight them like directly. And I love that build up throughout, like even a long running season like this. I just love that build up.
Nice.
Well, you talked
go
about
ahead,
the big baddie. When I was younger, watching what we called the talkies, a lot of the shows that I'm thinking of, it was really just Monster of the Week or a contained Adventure of the Week. And I'm trying to think of when a show, probably maybe before Buffy began, but like I'm thinking of Lost in Space or where it's just like they go to a planet and there's a thing that happens, versus a show like Buffy where it's like you have that, like the old Lost in Space didn't have an overarch villain thing following them. So I'm trying to think of, besides Buffy, I'm kind of drawing a blank of what other shows did something like this, where you had your adventure, but then there was something else behind the scenes across the entire season or 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm hard pressed now. Obviously, I am, gonna always side in the Buffyverse. Whedon, all of his shows, I think he does it the best. Like he even carried it over. People don't realize he carried it over into Avengers, where you had Loki was the little bad, and the big bad was obviously Thanos.
Yeah.
So he even carried it over into that. And
Yeah.
I really feel like they should have let Whedon keep doing more Avenger stuff, more MCU stuff, because I really feel like his, Age of Ultron's woefully underrated, and I think the first Avengers movie I think it's flawless.
Was he Me Too'd during the
Oh boy,
Avenger
that's
films?
Yeah,
that's
he
a
did.
whole
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
episode yeah,
That
he
put him
was
on the outs. Like he could have continued. I don't know
caught-
the timelines.
No, he caught Me Too flack, and then because he is such a self-deprecating and self-flagellation, right around the same time that his wife and he got divorced because he was cheating or whatever the fuck he was doing. I mean, he's an asshole, I think, and I think most directors and writers of any real talent tend to be. He is a real asshole, but he got caught up in the storm of Me Too, and he's done nothing. Like Charisma Carpenter's a fucking liar. I'll say it right now. You lied. And I know she did, because I have the receipts. I don't know. He just didn't have the money or the resources or really the interest, because he'd made his millions and he's fine to go off into obscurity, and he was happy with what he produced. And because he was so ashamed of what he did with his wife, he just didn't fight back the way Johnny Depp fought back. But I mean, he's got receipts. I know he does, because I've got them. Like I have all those VHS stuff of the I don't want to go off on a tangent here because we're going to talk about the episode. But I mean, just moving forward, I'm just going to tell you, if you don't want to watch this show because I'm a Joss Whedon defender, I know he didn't do anything wrong. Was he a dickhead? Now, if you don't like him because he's a dick, that's totally fine. I'm a dick, and a lot of people don't like me, and I get it. I'm not your cup of tea. That's fine. But no one's going to accuse me of crimes I didn't commit, and no one's going to infer that I did. And that's what they did with him. And he just got really ripped apart by that. And, all of the cast would spend the weekends at his house, hanging out, singing songs. They would, they'd prepare for the next week's episode, and they would, drink and just, get along. And they did that shit for like 12 years between Buffy and Angel. Nobody does that. When nobody goes every weekend to someone's house that's harming them or causing them trauma and all this that was bullshit. That was bullshit that was done mostly because of the Me Too movement, but also because people smelled blood in the water and they just went after him. And I've actually found a couple of very interesting deep dives into him where people defend him, coming from you guys' side of the pond, Northern English and Toonie, where they've found some stuff, and it started with Anthony Head, who plays Giles, who was like, I didn't know anything about this. What's going on? I thought we were all friends. This is, and he wasn't so quick to jump in the fray because he himself didn't want to get canceled, but he did basically say this is news to me. I've not seen any of this. And that's just not possible. I think what you have is some actresses that kind of steered their careers wrong and then decided, what? I think we see it every day. We see it with even big ones like Scarlett Johansson now diminishing what she did as Black Widow and saying it was problematic or whatever. Oh, it wasn't problematic when you did it. We're gonna
see fucking money, didn't she? And she happily got fucking nude and under the skin.
Yeah, famous as well.
We're gonna see a ton of
Isaac
this.
Hayes' chef in South Park. He took the money,
right,
and then complained after the fact, after he cashed the checks.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that one up. That way we can throw a guy under the bus as well, so people don't just think we're all a bunch of misogynists. But I mean, we're going to see a ton of this in the next 10 years with all these chicks are going to try to wipe their OnlyFans away from the internet, and they're not going to be able to. So they're all going to claim they were wrong. Like you have the porn stars like Mia Khalifa saying that I was led astray and I was used, but no, you weren't. Stop it.
Not to continue this, but I also I'm going to get his name wrong. He wrote he was accused of stuff, and the phrase was being used. Oh, he was grooming them, but these were 25-year-old and 28-year-old women.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't think that's how you whatever.
No, it's not. No, the victim culture and the lack of accountability. I stand on my defense of Joss. I really wish that I would love to do an interview with him sometime, and I would just because he had the money. I don't know why he didn't fight back. I imagine that probably somebody's got some dirt on him. I mean, because he's listen, if you're in Hollywood, you're already suspect. So I'd be willing to bet like there was probably something that he did that was fucked up. Like maybe him and Trachtenberg after she was 18 did like a threesome with the wife and she's got a video of it and she's like, hey, you better shut the fuck up or I'm going to release this, or something like that. That's probably what it is because he really tucked his tail and ran away. I mean, he really didn't have much of a choice though. So,
unless he just didn't give a fuck and he's like, fuck it, I've got my money.
He may have, yeah. He really may have. Now, me, I'm more combative, so I would have definitely gone after him. But again, it took Depp years to clean up, and there's still people who defend Amber Heard, which is crazy to me. Which is crazy. But anyway,
cases, they do take a lot of years. These court cases,
they do
a lot of fucking money. So I'm thinking that might have been why. Is like, listen,
yeah, he might have just because he didn't have
like. Anyway.
Joss definitely doesn't have Pirates of the Caribbean money. So
yeah, the only one that poops in my bed is me.
Yeah, or in your diaper, right? Anyway,
yeah.
So lie to me, real quick. So episode 7s, you guys, if you don't already know, episode 7s tend to be very important episodes in both Angel and Buffy. What they do is they start changing the narrative of what it is that you have been watching, and they turn it into something else. So like Angel is episode 7 of season 1, and Lie to Me now is episode 7 of season 2, and it gives you an idea of the overarching arch of what the season, what the storyline is going to be, and to a lesser degree, what lesson we're supposed to learn. So just as a briefly, we go through it. It starts off here in a little playground and kind of creepy. This kid, it's like full dark, and this kid is by himself in motherfucking Sunnydale. I hope his mom is dead somewhere, and that's the reason why he's been left alone, because otherwise his parent is terrible. Why would we leave
drunk fucking shagging a lot of men on OnlyFans like the horse?
Who is leaving their kid alone in any dark place, especially Sunnydale? Like, dude, are you serious right now?
Yeah, there's
so
some
anyway,
bad parents in this fucking city. Really
yeah.
Doesn't the kid say something that sort of implies that this is sort of routine? Like she's always
like,
late.
Come on, mom, not again, or something like that. And Juliet Landau, like this is actually kind of a spooky scene, low-key. Like she just pops up and just like out of nowhere, and she's playing the whole like I don't know if she's not even using her hypnotism mind control powers. She's just basically just talking to the kid and creeping him the fuck out. But he's too scared to move. He's too scared to run. It's like a cobra that's kind of like moving in on you. And so Angel pops in before she can eat him. It basically tells the kid run home, which like, okay, Angel, that's great. Like, why don't you escort that fucking kid? Like, why don't you do something? Because he could be running home, he could be like miles and running around in the dark in Sunnydale. That's not a great thing, but whatever, dude, we'll get past it. So I love the look of like disappointment he almost has with her, and knowing what we know now from both his series and later on in this series, the long history that they have. It's only kind of implied in these earlier episodes, but it's really, really well done, because if you come back to this after you've seen all of Angel, you really just go, oh man, I could see how this is like really fucked up. So they have a little back and forth, and he's not willing to kill her. He just kind of give her a warning. You and Spike need to pack your bags and get the fuck out of town. And of course, what's going to happen, because it's a show like this, she's up on top of a building. And so the one time she's not walking around she's actually doing a strategic vantage point, but she's up there and it looks like Angel and Drusilla might be kissing. I don't know. She doesn't at this point exactly know who Drusilla is yet, because she's run into Spike, but not Drusilla per se. I think she has an idea of her, but she can't really see, I guess, from this van. And it's weird that neither of these super vampires can smell Buffy up behind him. That must be why they get dusted so easily. But yeah, Buffy's like, oh no, what are you doing? So the next day we are at school, and meet cute Robia LaMorte, who plays Jenny Calendar, is that her name, or did I get that wrong? I think
Jenny, yeah.
So Jenny, Jenny Calendar and Giles are doing their meet cute bullshit. And I mean, she has a funny line because he's like, I need to know what we're going to go out on a date and do because I need to know what to wear. She's like, do you wear anything else? And he's like, not really.
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, it was, do you even own anything else? And he was like,
Yeah.
well, not exactly.
she's so fucking hot, dude. Like, she's way too hot. I mean, I know Daddy Giles has like been, retconned into this pimp and stuff. And all, if you get on TikTok, like Daddy Giles is like slaying. And I mean, and with good reason. But I mean, goddamn, dude, she's so hot. Like, she's like incredibly hot. She's way too hot to be a teacher, especially the shit. Doesn't she teach like mathematics or some crazy shit, like or computer science or something? Fuck me.
Definitely computer science. I don't know if she does math as well.
So we move past that bullshit into the kids in school. So for anyone who's not in the know, like Toonie Boy, back in the day we didn't text each other and stuff. Like, we'd write little notes and pass them back and forth in class. And we got Willow and Buffy, and Buffy's like, "Oh, I saw him with another girl," and she's like, was she possibly a vampire? So Willow already with it. Meanwhile, Cordelia is defending fucking what's her name, the off with their heads chick from the French Revolution. Because of course she is, and Xander is, giving her some shit and blah blah blah. It's your usual Sunnydale class, which is just a bullshit thing. And we got it. It's revealed this is written and directed by Joss Whedon himself. And I on the rewatch of this episode, I don't know what was going on, but like, is Buffy fine as fuck in this episode or what? Like, look how hot she was back in 97, bro. Like, I don't mean to harp. This is 98, actually. I don't mean to harp on this, but god damn, dude, Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar was really attractive. Like, the camera loves her face. I've found myself, because I have to do the screenshots, like just like looking at her, and I wanted to get one that said Joss Whedon, and I'm just looking at Buffy like, god dog, she was fucking hot.
She has that girl next door look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, Faith was probably hotter because she had that fucking
face way hot. Yeah, no, face way hotter.
Which I fucking love. I'm not gonna lie.
Faith is the chick that you bring to Vegas with you, and will double team a hot stripper. But Buffy's the one you bring home to mom. Basically, is the thing. So we get Jason Burr, who a lot of people might know from either Dawson's Creek or that weirdo alien show that came on the WB later on. He was in a few other things, but nothing that notable. So he pops up for his cameo. Gee, I wonder who the bad guy is going to be this episode. He pops in. He's Ford from Emory, the college that she was in before. And, of course, the big reveal is going to be that he knows that she's a Slayer. And then there's an even bigger reveal. But of course, didn't she burn down the gym? Like, if we're going by the lore of the show, she burned down the gym and like fought all the vampires. So why is she surprised that he knows that she's a Slayer?
Was she that surprised? I think she kind of moves on with it fairly easily. I mean, she's got like the initial 15 seconds, really.
But she still goes through the whole bullshit of trying to be like, oh, there was a cat and there was another cat and it was crazy. And
well, yeah, because she doesn't know that he knows at that point. That's just her reflex excuse. But then when he says, "Don't worry, Buffy, I know," she goes, "Oh," and then.
But if we go by the canon, that the movie events actually did happen, everybody in the school saw her do what she did.
Is the movie canon to this?
Yeah. There was a movie with Kirsty Swanson, but when we've seen the flashback episode with Angel, I think it's Prophecy Girl Part 1. It's kind of a loose continuation of the first one.
No, it's definitely a loose continuation, but the events still happen. There's a comic book version of this, of the Buffy movie, that's really good if you get a chance to find it, and it streamlines it. It's more like what Joss wanted. I think Joss wrote it, actually. But like, everybody in the school saw her do what she did in canon. So this is kind of like a what do you call it, an anomaly or whatever, or whatever that word is when the things don't match up or whatever, dude. Anyway, Ford's here. He's a fucking douchebag. He dresses like a preppy, looks like a model, and he's got a fucking earring, and he's just a douche. This is the one time you really like Xander's bullshit. Because Xander's really fucking with the guy, like, from moment one. It's like, hey, come to the bronze with us tonight. And he's like, oh, wouldn't I be imposing? And Xander's all like, oh,
only in the literal sense. Yeah, I never really thought about like how much Xander actually does make you chuckle. Like,
No, he's great.
No,
he's
he's
great.
a bit of a prick, but he has got some good comic time, and the way he delivers his lines is like, I won't be getting in the way with that. Oh no, only in the literal sense.
Yeah, just look at that expression on his face in that screenshot.
Yeah.
He knows he's being funny as well.
Yeah.
It's a shame we never saw him in more comedy shows because he is very funny. I mean, he can deliver the lines very well. It's kind of like
well, he fell in love with the
Jr.
bottle. He fell in love with the bottle a little bit too much and kind of derailed his career. And yet he didn't blame Joss Whedon for it. He just took ownership of it himself. Yeah. I mean, he fought with Dr. Phil a little bit on Dr. Phil's episode, but he took ownership of it himself and just said, I fucked up my own career. Because why? Because he has a penis and he's not a woman who avoids accountability. Anyway, they go to the bronze and there's a bunch of back and forth, and Angel shows up in his hot shirt and fucking thinks he's going to warn Buffy of danger and, have a little smoldering tete-a-tete, but instead Ford's in there cock blocking like a motherfucker. And Xander gets a few more quips when they meet, and, knowing what we know about the rest of the episode, it's a pretty interesting juxtaposition. Angel, besides jealousy, just doesn't like him automatically, and for good reason, as we're going to find out. Buffy and Ford go out for a walk, and they wind up running into a vampire. He tells Buffy, I know that you're the Slayer, blah, blah, blah. And then we follow Ford back to his lair, some kind of bunker, and he's got a bunch of wannabe vampire douchebags in here. And he's, basically ousted to be the bad guy. Pretty interesting. Julia Lee, who plays Chanterelle. Speaking of hot chicks that make an appearance. Hey there, Miss Sparkles. How are you, my love? How are you doing today? I think you're. Oh, there you are.
I did watch the first episode. Cool. The episode you gave and we watched, so I did watch it. Yeah.
Well, that is the one we're talking about. So fantastic. I'll give you a chance to pop in here in a second. I'm just doing the brief overview of the episode. Julia Lee makes her first appearance. Her character appears several times, first as Chanterelle, then as Lily, and finally as Anne, taking Buffy's middle name as her own by gratitude throughout Buffy. She also pops up in Angel and has a pretty significant role on that show as well. I wonder if they knew back then that they were going to utilize this character. That's her right there in the middle. So
she becomes a very welcome recurring character as well. She does.
She is. She seems like a nothing burger, just nothing going on with her. She's just gonna random cannon fodder, and it's really cool how they bring her back all the way into the season opener of I think it's episode 1 of season 3. I think she
was in Angel, and I was so glad to sort of see getting her life together a little bit, because I kind of felt sorry for her in the last couple of appearances before.
Yeah, she actually gives some really she's actually in the series finale of Angel, and she gives some really great advice to Gunn, who is wondering, like what it all means and blah blah blah. They let her give the kind of motivation for Gunn to step up. Gunn as a character in Angel, and step up and fight the forces of darkness and things like that. So it's pretty cool. So they're going through the plan, and we realize obviously Ford is going to be the little bad of this episode. And later on, Angel enlists Xander and Willow's help into going and checking out this club and trying to get as much dirt on Ford as possible. And he just basically tells them all that they're idiots. They don't know anything about vampires. And then right that very moment, some dude dressed exactly like Angel walks up behind him. So I guess they know a little bit about vampires. And, he asks Willow, will you look him up on the computer and do some research for me? Because I think something is wrong. Willow asks him, hey, are you sure it's just not jealousy? And he's like, no, I know what a bad guy is. I know how people lie. And this is definitely, there's something wrong with this dude.
Yeah.
The next day at school, we find out that Willow's not super great at keeping a secret. She's all amped up and acting all twitchy and things like that. Buffy attributes it to her getting into too much sugar at the espresso pump or something like that, too much caffeine. And, Ford is just being total douchebag. I don't have a screenshot of it, but dude, this guy's wearing he's got his goddamn hoodie wrapped around his waist like it's fucking 1989 or some shit. It's like, dude, I get it. You're good looking. You can get away with it. But dude, why are you got to be such a douchebag? Seriously. So next scene with him, he pops up into Spike's lair. He had pretended to kill this vampire over here on the left, random blonde vampire with great hair, by the way. And so they stole a book, and we're going to find out later it's a book of resurrection or rejuvenation spell for vampires. And he let her get away with it as kind of like a peace offering. With Spike comes in and tells Spike, it's tradition. You got to tell me what I'm here to offer. You're going to kill me in 30 seconds. Spike, of course, says, I'm not much for tradition, is about to eat him. But Drusilla stops him because she has a little bit of a psychic twinkle and tells him, you know, he has something, you know, we may want. And of course, Ford says, I'm going to offer you up the Slayer. And, you know, Spike's not going to turn that down. So then we get the next scene of, you know, Angel going to Buffy. Hey, okay, look, I lied. I'm sorry. You know, that's Drusilla. He gives a little bit of a confession, a really good one, too. Because if you follow Angel and you find out later, Angel really did fuck Drusilla up. You know, for context, Drusilla was in a convent after Angel and Darla killed her whole family. She goes to a convent trying to repent for the sin of having visions. And Angel keeps killing everybody in the convent. Finally gets just to her, drives her completely crazy, and then turns her into a vampire. So she's a crazy vampire with psychic powers, basically thanks to Angel, and he just unleashed her onto the world. And so we get another example. We've had it a little bit in Reptile Boy of Bangel speak, which is just basically Buffy and Angel's, you know, kind of, I guess the writer of Twilight watched this show and got like super horny about the stuff that was happening and wrote Twilight, because it's basically all the shit with Buffy and Angel kind of delves itself into Bangel speak. I'm glad they make fun of it in later seasons. What is you guys' thoughts on Bangel speak? Does it make you want to throw up, or do you dig it, or what's the deal? Northern.
Oh no, it's more tolerable than the Twilight speak.
Okay. Toonie Boy.
Sorry, I'm just chuckling at the chat. Apparently, I'm quite terrifying. No, in terms of Bangel speak, I do enjoy it when it actually like pushes the characters forward and it gives us a bit more history. So in terms of this scene, I did enjoy it because, you know, Angel's entire character so far is about him trying to redeem himself, and we understand just how difficult that's got to be, considering just how evil he was when, you know, he was a vampire, he was a soulless vampire, but we realize just like all the evil he's done. He's murdered someone's whole family and made them watch just so he can drive them insane, and then sired them as a vampire. So now, you know, he's the reason Drusilla is the way she is. So I do enjoy this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Toonie Boy likes a bit of Bangel speak. Okay, cool. That's fascinating. What about you, Critter?
Yeah, some of the dialogue it pings weird in my ear, but it's fine. No problems there.
Okay. And our late coming but always welcome guest, Jenn Sparkles. What do you think? You dig yourself a little bit of Bangel speak? Do you dig that stuff or what?
No, I would smack him.
Base. Base. I love it. Okay. Yeah, no, good. I would also, it makes me, it's very cringy, especially on rewatches. The Bangel speak shit is pretty cringy.
The chick who wrote Twilight had to have taken some of
Go ahead.
Some of her things with Edward from him. I noticed like there's like she had.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because
Yeah.
Angel's still not really that interesting brooding character. He is. He's
not. Yeah, he's not.
Pretty boy vampire still, isn't he?
Angel's really dull as fuck, to be honest with you, until the big change happens mid-season here. You know, which I won't go into till we get to the next, you know, or we get a little closer to it. He's fucking lame. You know, I was so, and which is crazy because David Boreanaz is a great actor. I mean, and the proof in the pudding, the fact that he's had show after show after show. He's not had much of a movie career, to be fair. But I mean, TV, he lights it on fire on TV.
Yeah, he's got some fucking charisma. He really
he's
does.
Charisma. He's aura as fuck when he's on screen, man. And he's got good comedic timing himself. I love an Angel when he gets to be funny. he's really fucking funny when he gets to do shit. Like, he has some really good dry humor on Angel, especially like in the last season where they have him and Spike having to work together. That shit is fucking, I would literally chop off my foot for another season of Angel, like, to have that continued, because that was going so fucking well. Really wanted to see more of that, but you know, I'll take what I can get as far as that goes. But yeah, so you know, it's a lot of Angel speak and bullshit like that. We flash forward to the bunker. Ford tricks her down there. She thinks that she's kind of gotten him on the back foot by showing up early, but instead it was actually part of his plan. He locks her in the basement. Spike comes in, 6 or 7 of his minions, and Drusilla, which was the mistake that he made. After all the minions start attacking all of the vampire wannabes and stuff like that, you know, Buffy jumps up, does some fantastic parkour, and makes it up to Drusilla, and basically holds her hostage as a Mexican standoff, vampire standoff, whatever you want to call it, and tells him, you know, hey, let everybody out of here or she turns to dust. And they get out, lock the basement door, and there's no way out. And Ford is still there and looks up at Spike and Drusilla in that little clip you see in the top left, saying, well, hey, you know, fuck it. I delivered, you know, I did what I was supposed to do. So where's my reward? And, you know, obviously they look down on him like, yeah, you're going to get a reward. All right, bitch. So what are you guys' thoughts on the speech between Buffy and Ford, where he reveals that the reason why he wants to betray her and get all these people killed is so he can turn into a vampire because he's got brain cancer or some shit? What you guys' thoughts there?
It is a very emotional speech, and you do almost feel a little bit sorry for him, but at the same time, he is betraying his fucking friend and allowing people to get killed. And it does kind of just show how far Buffy has come as well when she has got a bit of a moral compass as well, and she's learning to do the right thing more and more and more, and she's becoming more altruistic. But I think she does defend him a little bit too much, like he was scared, and he probably wanted to portray her because it would make it a bit easier for him. But yeah, it just kind of shows that it's like sometimes when people are faced with their own fate, they may make selfish choices.
No,
I mean, even after hearing that it's not going to be him, it's just going to be some fucking demon taking over his body, he's still like, it's better than nothing. And you do still understand why he's doing it. I mean, because that sounds like a really horrifying way to die, horrible way to die.
Yeah,
I don't feel
I know,
bad
yeah,
for him. He
brain
deserves
cancer.
brain cancer.
Yeah,
With the way he is, he deserves it. Good for him. I didn't feel
Yeah,
bad for
fuck
him at
that.
all. He's a piece of crap. Yeah.
yeah, fuck that guy. Go to
Yeah.
Dawson's Creek where you're accepted more. Yeah, oh yeah. So I guess we'll jump to you, Jen, because you haven't had too much of a chance to speak. So your thoughts on this, and what is your thoughts on, let's flip it on its script. What are your thoughts on what Buffy tells him? You know, she's like, I know you have a bad choice, but you still have a choice. You don't have to do this. What is do you think that's emblematic of like the theme of the show or the episode and Buffy, or what?
Well, yeah, because we still
I said Jen. I said Jen.
Know your place.
No, let him answer, because I'm trying to
Lovely.
think about it. Let him answer. I'm trying to think about it. Hold on. You answer. I'm trying to think of.
Well, go ahead, Northern, if you're gonna just.
Sorry, I missed.
Here you go. No. Hold on. Let me give you what you want. There we go. Okay, now go.
No, it was a bit rude of me. Okay, no, pass it on to who was supposed to say. Sorry, because
No, she wants you to.
got
She
my
wants you to
attention
speak.
a little bit.
Yeah,
I do
because I'm trying to think of what I
apologize.
say.
She wants to gather her. She wants to gather her thoughts. So go ahead. Speak.
Okay. Well, Buffy does actually get faced with a lot of situations, a lot of bad situations where she doesn't have the best choice, but she still makes that right choice.
Yeah, choice is a big thing with this and Angel. You know, it's that whole, like, I don't know if you guys suffered through all of the Matrix movies. You know, I don't want to go off on a tangent or whatever, but there's that scene at the end when he's being defeated by the multiple, you know, whatever, Mr. Smiths, and he's obviously losing. Neo is, and you know, and Mr. Smith says, you know, why do you keep getting up? You know you're going to lose. Why do you keep persisting? And he's like, because I choose to. So a lot of what, you know, is affected by this TV series and Angel is the fact that Joss Whedon is as existentialist, and he's an absurdist, and he believes in the philosophy of like John Paul Sartre, which is basically the world is indifferent to us. The scariest thing in the world is not that the world is a cruel or evil place, but it's just indifferent to us. The universe will go on without us. We are basically meaningless. We live a meaningless existence. And if you embrace if you embrace absurdism and existentialism, that can be very freeing, but it can also be very scary in a way. If you don't believe in God, if you don't believe there's a higher purpose, Yahweh, the next life, whatever, but you just believe that nothing you do matters, then everything you do is all that matters. So if nothing you do matters, then all that matters is what you do. So that is and so you can have a purposeful life. You can choose to fight, even though that you're going to lose. And it's really brilliantly woven into almost all of the main characters of the show. Like, I'll just give you an example. Spike, even when Spike was evil, there's a flashback scene when he fights Angel and Angel is chastising him for getting them in needless brawls. Like they're having, instead of just killing humans and moving from place to place, he's getting them, wrapped up in needless fights and things like that. And Spike says, well, don't you get bored fighting fights you're going to win? Don't you want to get into something that you feel like you could lose? And even, spoiler for the series finale of Angel, they basically go into an overwhelming odds fight, looking like there's no way they're going to win, but they choose to fight anyway. And that's what Ford should have done in this moment. He should have just said, okay, fuck it. Cancer's going to, let me go see my friend Buffy before I die and go, he could have chosen to go out in a blaze of glory fighting a bunch of vampires. That would have been a much cooler way to go. But instead he wants to kind of cheat and game the system by, taking the Slayer off the map and turning himself into a fucking vampire minion, for no reason at all. So, I feel like it's very well done. That's why this is an episode 7. That's why it's written by Joss Whedon. And that's why it's so prominent in all of the Buffy zeitgeist. Critter, we haven't heard much from you here. Do you have any thoughts on any and all of that?
Well, so sorry. I zoned out there for a moment. First of all, really quick, I thought this episode was very vampire-y. I loved each sequence. Like, it's all seeped in vampire stuff. I liked Spike and Drusilla's their scenes, the poor dead parrot. But the guy with brain cancer, I don't know. I would, if I was good as dead, I don't know if I want to live as a possessed demon thing. I'd rather go out in a blaze of glory. And also is that standard deal with the devil. Like, how many other movies and TV shows where someone is so desperate they, I'll use Little Mermaid as an example, or was it The Wishmaster? You want to do something to attain something, but it's no, you don't do a deal with or the wish with the genie that backfires. So it's like he's going to these, clearly, he knows the vampires exist and he knows that Buffy's a slayer. Oh, I'm going to make a deal with these guys to be possessed and live forever. It's not going to end well. And plus his friends are going to get murdered too.
Yeah. So Jen, now that all these toxic white males have done mansplaining to you, did you have some thoughts that you wanted to say on this episode?
Can I say what my favorite quote from the episode was?
I would love for you to do that.
I don't need to understand. I just need to know why. Boom.
Huh. What part was that from? What part was that from?
I don't remember exactly. I just know that was said. I don't need to understand. I just need to know why.
Yeah,
I think it's Buffy speaking to Angel. Then.
No, it's Ford. I think in the scene just before this one, where they're in the basement. I think, Ford says something about wanting to become a vampire, and then he says you wouldn't understand, and then she says that. I think he's walking up the stairs, and then she sort of grabs the banister of the stairs. I think is it that scene? It rings a bell.
That sounds right.
I don't need to understand. I just need to know why.
Yeah.
Good writing. Good writing. So after they get out of the basement, the friends come in. Hey.
Come back for what?
For the body.
Ooh. We can come back in the morning after all the vampires are gone. Come back for what? For the body. Nice. Good job, Buffy. I love it. That's some dark shit, man. So after this, we go to Buffy's at Ford's grave.
Yeah, this is actually very touching, though.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
You didn't say anything.
It'd be simpler if I could just hate him. I think he wanted me to. I think it made it easier for him to be the villain of the piece. Really, he was just scared.
Yes, I suppose he was.
Nothing's ever simple anymore. I'm constantly trying to work it out. Who to love or hate, who to trust. It's just like the more I know, the more confused I get.
I believe that's called growing up.
I'd like to stop then, okay?
I know the feeling.
Does it ever get easy?
You mean life?
Yeah. Does it get easy?
What do you want me to say?
Lie to me.
Oh, he said the thing. She said the title of the thing. She said the thing, everybody.
There it is.
I have no choice but to be Superman for the quest for peace.
Jokes aside, this is a great. So we see that Spike actually did honor the deal and did turn him into a vampire, that's pretty interesting. That's a pretty interesting situation. With there's a lot of there was more. I forgot to mention this earlier, but Spike realizes that Drusilla had been out hanging out with Angel and talking with him, and Drusilla kind of lies to Spike a little bit about who she's seeing, and in that way it's juxtaposed against the fact that Angel doesn't tell Buffy that he was talking to Drusilla. So you have this kind of mirror thing. I don't know if it was intended this far back, but this whole Spike and Buffy kind of mirror thing to each other is really, really interesting. And it's really hard to unsee after you see it, especially in future episodes as we move along. But anyway, so Ford pops in, and Buffy's having a existential crisis and stuff like that. And I like the fact that it's put up against the fact that dealing with a random vampire is like nothing, and it doesn't even matter that it was Ford. She knows that it's not really Ford. She knows it's just a vampire, and it's her job to dust him. And then of course we get the great line, lie to me. She wants Giles to do her a kindness, and because he's turned into this kind of father figure for her, he does so. In this is a really touching scene, in my opinion. It's one of the best ones in the whole series.
Yes, it's terribly simple. The good guys are always stalwart and true. The bad guys are easily distinguished by their pointy horns or black hats. And we always defeat them and save the day. No one ever dies, and everybody lives happily ever after.
Liar.
Oh, so good.
Showing the feels, man.
Oh, it does something to me.
If you think that's too many feels, I can't wait for us to get to season 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
So okay.
That's what we all want, to deal with reality and things that we can't change and the harshness that you can encounter. You all want that. I think you all want to be coddled and lied to, and have the soften the blows, because it's easier when you're not having to face the harshness or growing up, multiple things. And so, I kind of.
Sometimes it is. It's sometimes we just need something to help us get through a very painful time.
Yeah. I think in that moment, I think Buffy just needed a break, and I think that Giles was willing to give it to her in that moment. I feel like that's what was going on. That he just kind of wanted to give her just a little bit of a reprieve from this endless slog of you know, all the shit that Buffy has to fucking deal with, you know, like all the time. Bad enough she's got to deal with monsters in the end of the world. Now she's got her fucking childhood friends popping in there, fucking, you know, turning into vampires, trying to kill her and betraying her and shit, man. I mean, god damn, dude, give
It
give the
kind of
girl a break.
shows just how it kind of shows how their relationship has developed. He is becoming more and more of a father figure to her as well, and he's still, and it's still him remembering, okay, she's still a teenage girl, she's still a kid who's not a fully formed grown up yet, and she still needs to have that little bit of reassurance occasionally.
So I'm going to do final thoughts and then a rating because we are way over time on this one, but it's okay because the next one's kind of a clunker and I'm going to speed right through it. But so Jenn, you haven't had much of a chance to speak, and I know this is the episode that you watch. The way we do it here, you can give me whatever final thoughts you want and tell us whether or not this episode was steak-tastic, whether it was a skippable episode, like bleh, skip it. You don't even need to watch it to be okay in the series, or if it was just kind of meh, kind of you watch it, but it doesn't really have much of anything for you. What's your thoughts, and what would you rate it?
Meh. It really didn't affect the story, did it? I don't think it did. And like, is that what you mean? I don't know. I haven't watched any of the episodes. It was all right. The ending was kind of okay. I mean, I thought it was crazy about how, like, looking back at what TV shows were like with teenagers. I had to look up how old she was in the show, like as the character, and she's 17, and they show her in like a bar, like playing pool. It's crazy.
Well, yeah. Back in the 90s, they used to do this thing and they have like teen clubs where they only had like soda and shit.
Yeah, but the way that one looks, I went to teen clubs. That one did not look like a teen club.
No,
like,
it doesn't. Does
it? And then like when there's other things too that was like they all look like they're like in their mid-20s, and I just think it's crazy. I just thought it was crazy. And then the relationship she has with the teacher, there's no way that would be allowed nowadays. But but that was it. But
yeah, no, I mean, well, just so you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar and me are same age, so in 97 she was just turned 20. So she wasn't playing that far past her actually, like Charisma Carpenter.
It wasn't really
like
her that looks older. Who it was one of the dudes. He looks like so much older than a teenager.
Xander, her friend Xander.
Yeah, that's probably who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was.
But,
I think he was
and I hated the nerd chick's acting. It was making me want to like. The way she talks all slow and like, oh, like, and then her room was hideous. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, her room is gross. Yeah, hell yeah. Fuck Willow.
Yeah, she needs to
Willow. Yeah, Willow. Her outfits are ugly. Her room is horrible. She is horrible. She's a horrible character. Needs to be shoved downstairs. There you go.
Yeah, apparently, at some point she was at band camp and stuck a flute up her pussy.
I know.
So, I have that on good authority.
One time
so,
in band camp.
Yeah. So Jenn gives it a meh. All right, a meh from Jenn. So jumping back to the top of the roster, let's go to Northern English Bastard. What is your thoughts on this episode and what rating do you give it? Is it steak-tastic, skippable, or is it just kind of meh?
Well, it does add a bit more context to Angel and shows that, yeah, he really had a dark past, but then we get that very emotional ending, and I gotta give it a steak-tastic because it does show just how far the relationship between Buffy and Giles has grown over the past episodes from season 1 and from season 2 before, I should say. So yeah, I give it a steak-tastic. I give it a steak-tastic.
Is it steak-tastic? All right, we got a steak-tastic from Northern English Bastard. Tootie Boy, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I don't know that I've got much different to say from Northern English Bastard, but yeah, I'd definitely give it a steak-tastic. I was a bit on the fence going into this, but I'd say yeah, after this, no, it's definitely got to be a steak-tastic. I like that they, especially the line from Giles after Buffy's little speech when she says she misses when things were simpler, and he says, I believe that's just called growing up. And it's not really it's like it might get a little grin from you, but it's not really meant as a joke. It's meant to be truthful that when it comes to evil, sometimes people make evil choices, not because they want to hurt people, because they're genuinely just scared. And that it is sometimes reassuring to just go back to simpler ideas like the pure evil, but like the obvious evil caricatures, and then the good guys. I like what the show's going for there, and obviously I like how it characterizes Angel, because he's supposed to be on the good. He's one of the good guys in the show now, but we know where he comes from. He is almost as evil as they come when it comes to being a vampire in his history. But yeah, especially learning where we go with Buffy in the later seasons. It's got to be a fantastic episode.
Fantastic. Okay. And Critter, what are we giving it?
Yeah, Steaktastic. I felt it was very vampire-y for a vampire show. Again, the poor parakeet.
There was a lot of vamp action in this episode, wasn't it?
I liked the opening sequence with the little boy. It reminded me a little bit of Stephen King's Salem Lot, the original miniseries. Just the darkness, and it's like, what the hell? And I just like how she portrays her vampire. I mean, that's a vampire 100%. Female vampire 100%.
Nice. Okay, cool. Cool. So it looks like Jen decided to go back to bed. Don't blame her. Over where she's at. I think it's like 6 a.m. or some crazy shit or whatever. So thank you, Jen, for stopping by and giving us your thoughts. And yeah, fuck Willow in her dirty room. Crazy. Yeah, definitely Willow deserves no mercy for that. So yeah, she kind of found the episode to be kind of meh. The rest of us thought it was, obviously, I think you guys know my thoughts at now. It's steaktastic. And strangely enough, wasn't on the first watching. It took me several rewatches to kind of understand what it was that this where the show was going for, and what was happening with it. So it wound up being a situation where looking at it as a whole from the entire series was why I rate it in the way that I do. So yeah, here's the promo for the next episode.
Buffy has always trusted the Watcher until something from his past.
What is going on here?
Unleashes a force too deadly even for the Slayer.
God, what have I done?
An all-new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Next.
All right. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, do you know what? I would have loved to have just been there during the era of that resolution for starters, but just you get the little promos before the episodes. Speaking of, do you know the little intro that they do with each episode where it's Giles talking about
the Dark Age is an important.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you know like the little intro that they do before most of the episodes, where it's Giles giving it like a brief 20-second narration about who Buffy is, the Slayer, something about the forces of darkness, she is the Slayer, and all that. Is it me, or was they just not in these two episodes? That little intro.
I think they were. As I recall. Are you talking about like the little the little stare thing?
Yeah, it's like 15 seconds of like just a little bit of narration.
We always find a Slayer, and she has to take on the vampires. That line that always shows up.
Well, I was going to say on Tubi that there's a different narrator, but then as I'm watching, also you heard Giles' voice. I'm like, wait, and it threw me for a moment. So on Tubi, sometimes it's the narrator, and other times it's the actor, his voice, and it's the same. It's the same opening.
Yeah, sometimes it can be different as well. Like they'll have different actors go previously on this show. It's one of those things.
Fair enough. No, I was gonna say I don't remember seeing that intro on these couple of episodes. The episode just began, and then eventually we got the normal 2-minute Buffy intro. However long.
How are you watching it? Are you watching it? Where are you watching it on?
Disney Plus.
Disney. Boo, Disney.
Yeah.
Give me your money.
Oh
God, he left. He's so angry he left.
Yeah. Toonie Boy has been put in timeout for fucking contributing to Disney. How the fuck are you watching this shit on Disney, man? God,
because that's what I have at the minute. I don't like Disney, but I mean they've got the 7 seasons of the Buffy show.
Well, fair enough. Well, anyway, this is a Nothing Burger episode. So it starts off, and Buffy is training in the library with Giles. He makes a reference to Shakespeare when her booty music stops, and right at that same time, this guy that was looking for Giles gets killed by some kind of season 1 looking fucking demon puppet. And Giles comes by to identify the body. He's got the same tattoo that Giles does, which we've never seen up to this point. And it's basically an old friend of Giles and blah blah blah. Flash forward to Buffy doing a stakeout that Giles was supposed to be with her on, which is the blood bank or hospital, whatever, and blood's being delivered. Buffy seeing her waiting by the payphone to call Giles is fantastic. That really just shows where they're at. Way too darkly lit action scene, probably to hide the stunt people, I would assume, and the mask prosthetics. And then, so these guys deliver blood, and it's obviously a blood delivery thing specifically set up for vampires. Angel joins in, helps Buffy win the day, and we get a bit of kung fu action from Angel. Up to this point, we've not really seen Angel fight very good. That hasn't really been a thing. After that's dealt with, we go back to Giles' home, and he's going through a list of his, 70s, glam punk magic spell caster, buddies from England, and they were like raising hell and doing spells, and the only two people left alive on the list are him and Ethan Rayne. We get Ethan Rayne back so quickly, which is crazy because he comes back quickly just a couple episodes after Halloween, and then we don't see him again till like fucking mid-season 3 or some shit, and we only get him for like these one-off episodes. It's really strange. It's really strange how they did this. I don't like this episode. I'm just gonna tell you guys right off the bat. But I'll get through it as quickly as possible since we spent so much time on Lie to Me. But yeah, it's revealed Giles has that same tattoo that he had. Zombie buddy is back up. Ethan's in there. He shows back up. He's actually working with Buffy. Buffy's been taking down the thing. The problem is, just like in the movie Fallen, every time the thing is killed, it pops back up again and jumps into somebody else's body. Giles is not being forthcoming with the information, and we find out that he's the one who actually raised the demon with his buddies, and now it's coming to, I guess, collect his soul or some fucking shit. I don't know. It's really not specific as to what the deal is, but it's when we find out that Giles is not exactly the prim and proper good person that he's affected to be up to this point. And we just find out that he's just like everybody else. He's got a bit of a past. His past just kinds of be a little ugly. So I'll point out the elephant in the room. Number one, there's an issue with the fact that back in season 1, episode 3, The Witch, Giles makes a comment like, "Oh, this is the first spell I've ever casted." So we come to find out that's completely fucking bullshit. Now, whether or not that was just something that they didn't realize they were going to do at the beginning of the show at that point or not, I don't know. Or, I guess you could headcanon the fact that, he was just lying. And if that's the case, then that's fine. It gets resolved as the demon has entered Jenny Calendar. Angel comes in, gets the demon to enter him, and since Angel already has a demon inside of him, there's nowhere for the demon to go, and it gets exorcised, and Giles is now on the outs with Jenny Calendar, and everything's sad and fucked up and blah 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 blah. I don't know why all these different clips are in here. We find out Giles is not the guy that we originally thought that he was, and that's sad, but it's whatever, it's fine. And that's it. There's not really much else to the episode besides that, so I guess fuck. Oh, that's the wrong landscape. I don't want that. There we go. There's that. I'm going to tell you guys straight out, I don't care for this episode. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel they properly, I'm especially more angry because they don't utilize Ethan Rayne properly in it, and that really pisses me off. I don't care that Giles has a dark history. I mean, I'm glad that it got revealed or whatever, and it makes his character more interesting. But at the same time, the way they do this and the pacing in this episode is just really way off, and it really seems more like a season 1 episode. And I almost wonder if it was like written that way, and then because they only had so much episodes they could do in season 1, they decided to shoehorn it into this. That's how it really feels to me. But anyway, Northern, by the way, I'm gonna give this one a skip, except for the fact of Giles doing Giles stuff, and we find out more about him. Except for that, I really feel like this one is, for me, it's definitely skippable. So but anyway, Northern.
Yeah, I think the only thing I remember is that Giles was part of some cult, and that was basically it. And I like the idea, is this very prim, proper sort of like stiff upper lip gent, and he never was that way all the time. But I think the fact that his past was a little bit more rougher and not so clean was kind of done better in the episode where he becomes a teenager in his head with and he's hanging out with
Yes,
people.
yes. That is a good one.
Doesn't Joyce?
Ethan Ray,
Oh,
so
no,
glad
never
to
mind.
see him back. He's a very likable antagonist, but then we've got these weird zombie things that turn into bloody sludge. And what you're saying about this feeling like an episode one, season 1 episode, I kind of get as well, because there was only half the episodes in season 1 that you get in the other season. So this probably might have been the reason why they were still finding their feet a little bit, and they had these episodes written for season 1, but they was only allowed to have half of them air. So I'm guessing this was kind of the thought. Okay, let's use these for the first half of season 2 then.
Yeah, I would have liked to have known more about this blood, the blood thing, and more angel kung fu and shit like that's what I would have liked to have had like an A plot about that, or at least a heavier B plot. This gets this like one throwaway scene and then nothing. This is, to me, is the standout scene of the whole thing, and it has nothing to do with the overarching narrative of the story. And it's never really addressed again either. That they had the I mean, I guess you could understand that like Buffy and Angel kind of shut it down, but I think it's interesting and kind of cool that they would have a whole system set up for the vampires, so they don't have to like hunt people down and possibly draw attention themselves, so they get it from the blood bank or whatever. But and I also like the little line, the throwaway line Angel does, where he's like, yeah, it's blood drive day, everybody knows that. Critter, what's your I'm sorry, Northern, I apologize, bro. What's your rating on this episode?
Oh yeah, I give it a skip.
Is it a skippable? Okay, wow. Okay, cool. Anyway, Critter. Or you know what? No, Tootie Boy. You're next in the queue. Go ahead. You go next.
Yeah, so I probably would give the episode a skip for its contribution to the story. It's a possible meh for Ethan Rain, but even then, like you said, he wasn't really utilized, so it probably will be a skip. I will say that I like the subtle scene where Ethan's in the library and he goes to run through the door. And one of them shouts to stop him. And Xander, even though he fails, Xander is the first one to just dive right in there and get physical with him. He just grabs him by the shirt. Yeah.
No, facts. That's cool.
He tries to tackle him down. And again, even though he fails, I still like that he didn't even hesitate, didn't even think about it, hesitate. He just fully ran in there. I did enjoy that little character detail. The one thing that I just didn't like, because I feel like Buffy should have, like, her reflexes would have stopped this, but when she goes to see Ethan, then he says like ladies first. She walks in front of him and then she hits him from behind. Sorry, the other way around. He hits her in the back of the head and knocks her out. I'm sat there like, first of all, even somebody without Slayer reflexes would know that that's coming. Like, of course he's about to do that.
No, yeah, good point. Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, actually. Yeah, it's so badly hodgepodge and thrown together, especially when you come off a banger like Lie to Me. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's such a weird episode. But yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. Critter, go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say steak-tastic. Don't get angry unless there's a sub-steak.
Whoa!
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you. Relax.
Explain yourself.
I will
sir.
explain. First of all, again, from watching a lot of horror films and sci-fi and whatever, I like the concept of a demon jumping from place to place. You can't get it. It's knocking off people one at a time. I was entertained by it. Listen, I was entertained by it, and I'll give you some examples that I kept getting held. My attention was constantly being held. Opening fight sequence. Angel kicks a bad guy into the driver's seat of the car, and he takes off. I thought that was funny. The janitor, I wanted him to tell the sick guy, the guy being pursued, like to F off, like, because he gives him information. He's very polite and helpful. Hey, where's he at? And the janitor's like, okay, that other building, dick. And lastly, the morgue attendant getting beat up and thrown head first into the slab and locked, the door locked, freaked me the hell out. I think I have a bit of a claustrophobia. Just I think about things like the spelunkers getting stuck. And this guy, who knows when another coworker will come in. He's got to lay in that dark morgue slab with his, he can't even like try to kick the door out. And he's head first in the back end of it. I like the episode. It entertained me. You're all gonna just ignore me now? Is that it?
No, sorry. I got one of the hotel the hotel front desk person walked in right at that second. I got distracted. Work. What are you gonna do? Okay, well, that's fair enough. What do you guys think about the resolution? How they resolve the when they use Angel do Machina of taking the demon and I forgot she had telekinetic powers. That's interesting. What is you guys' thoughts on how they resolve the thing, Northern? Is it cheesy? Is it dumb? Or was it actually kind of clever?
No, it's very confusing. I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know demon law enough to see if it's to say if it's actually legit, to be honest. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, because it's kind of a demon, so maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I'm still very ambivalent about it.
Yeah. Toonie, what are your thoughts? Is it good demon lore? Is it like,
in terms of like the demon lore, I don't know, but in terms of the way they explain it, it seems to make sense to me. I just don't like that Angel just kind of blips into existence for the episode, like right at the end to resolve the plot, and then he just disappears again.
Oh yeah, he spawns right in there, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's like it's not even. It's like it's literally if you play it in a video game, do you like when you can no clip in a video game and you can see the people spawn in off camera? It kind of feels like that. Like if you panned the camera out, you would see him just blip into existence outside the door.
Yeah.
In terms of
great special effects there, huh, guys?
I don't know. I've got no qualifications for that. Yeah, I don't usually pay attention to things like special effects, to be perfectly honest. I'm too distracted thinking about things that I'm never gonna make sense of anyway.
Well, that's fair. Critter, what's your thoughts? Did they come up with an interesting way to resolve the? I'm really just trying to pad the time at this point. If you haven't already figured it out, but go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I was fine with it. I kind of wonder. I know that in some of these episodes they open up the books and they talk about the thing or the talisman or the spell, and I kind of wonder how much of a show Bible was created to give so much detail for each of these monsters of the week. But yeah, I was fine with the resolution, whatever.
I mean, the reason I bring it up is for those of you, I don't know how much into the shows Buffy and Angel you guys have both seen. I know Luke has seen quite a bit, probably not quite as much as me. And I mean, I'm obviously a bigger Angel fan than I am of Buffy. I know, shock and awe. But, I find that the lore in that to be pretty good. As far as that goes. But, for the whole resolution of it, when I first saw it back in the day, I didn't like it. And I don't like it that much better now. But I will say this. To be fair, as far as the lore of Angel.
To be fair. Oh, don't say to be fair. Hate when people say to be fair.
Oh, to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair. To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
So, to be fair, this does come up a couple different times in plot points on the TV show Angel, where there's some sort of conflicting demon, spirit, ghost, whatever spell that doesn't quite work on him. Because I'll point out the one where they have the misogynistic guy that can turn men into like their basest instincts or whatever, and he does so to good effect to Wesley specifically, and it doesn't work on Angel. Due to the fact of the nature of his curse. So they do have that. And this is like the first example that I can think of in the lore where they do that. So I don't have too much of a problem with that. And that's really the reason I brought it up. I mean, dodgy special effects aside, it's definitely something that I found to be pretty interesting. Obviously you guys are going to know, I'm going to give this one a skip. You don't really need to see it. I mean, you find out later that Giles has a shady past anyways. So you don't need to be beaten over the head with it. And yeah, they have the whole contrived thing about he put Jenny in danger somehow, but isn't she kind of fucking always in danger? And that strains their relationship that was budding at the time. But isn't there, she's always in danger. She's in fucking Sunnydale, and she's like right above the Hellmouth as a teacher, and she knows what's going on, and she helps out in the Scooby Gang. So she's kind of always in danger anyways, isn't she? So I feel like that was a little contrived as far as that goes. Anyway, it's a skippable episode. If you're trusting us this far into the guide, just trust us. It's fucking skippable as far as that goes. I mean, if you just need to, I mean, if you just want to watch every single episode, have said that you've watched every episode, it's fine, but it's pretty skippable. So this 2 episode per thing rewatch episode should work pretty good up all the way into the end, because they're all paired off to a piece. Unfortunately, we do have 2 clunkers right in a row, right near the tail end of this season. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'll talk to you guys about it and see whether or not you want to I'll just do a brief, like, one aside thing and just say, fuck these episodes. They suck. Just move on to the season, because they happen right before the season finale, these 2 clunker episodes. So, but other than that, I think they're pretty much firing on all cylinders all the way. Northern, what's your thoughts where we're at so far? Are you excited for what's to come?
Yeah, I think we've still got the other episode with another mysterious vampire slayer. And it's a 2-parter, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know how far away we are from the twist with Angel. You know,
we're a little decent pace away from it. But I think up to the 2 bad episodes near the tail end of the season, I think the next like 6 or so are really fucking bangers. So especially the next 2 are a couple of my favorites. They're a part 1 and part 2, so that should work pretty good. Toonie Boy, do you have anything you want to plug or talk about real quick? Anything Buffy related? Anything, whatever? Just whatever. Shoot it.
Nothing Buffy related. I still haven't played that game that you suggested, but it's on the list.
Chaos Bleeds. Chaos Bleeds is awesome.
Chaos Bleeds. Yeah. No, in terms of videos, again, I'm still doing Let's Play content. I've recently started the Devil May Cry franchise, so I'll be playing through that. I've also I've gone back to the original Dynasty Warriors game, so I've started those recently, and I've got loads of other games going on, but I'll keep it very short. That's me summed up.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Critter, you get? Do you have stuff on your YouTube channel? What's the deal with that?
Well, yeah, a bunch of fake trailers and animated stuff, videos with family and friends and my kids, Star Wars, Star Trek, Space 1999, small mini clips of tiny action figures hitting each other, that kind of crap. It's a lot of toy stuff, turning into movies.
As always, I will have the links to all these guys' channels in the description of this video. You may notice we did switch from live to pre-recorded, just due to the fact that last week the copyright clowns kicked me in the dick, and I was all in my feelings for like a whole full day, and then I challenged it, and in short order they put it back up. So far, all of our Buffy content, although a light claim on each one, probably for music or maybe a little bit for scenes, but that aside, we've been pretty good so far. Northern, last but certainly not least, what do you got coming up anytime soon that somebody could check out on your channel?
Well, I've got a stream to talk about the trailer to the 007 game First Light, and just share my thoughts, and that's it. And obviously I'm with Nielsen Ratings this Tuesday, and Bastard's Breakdowns this Friday with Daxina, and you, of course, for Con Air.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope. I'm heavy looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't have anything else really going on. I've been a really busy week with my regular job. Fucking money, right? I can't wait till I'm, wealthy and all my books sell 1 million copies so I can just do YouTube shit and fuck around. But unfortunately, I still have to tune people up every now and then and fucking follow around cheating husbands and cheating wives and stalkers and all that bullshit. It sounds a lot cooler than it actually is, believe me. But yeah, I probably will try to get Consider the Source out, because I haven't done one in quite a while, and I was thinking about doing Carrie, since apparently they're gonna fucking remake that thing. Yeah, I know it sucks. But talk about Carrie, the book versus the film, since a couple months ago my car tried to kill me. So I thought that might be an interesting thing to do. I don't have much else. I did recently upload a thing of the top 5 shows that only lasted a season that weren't Firefly. And I had some great suggestions, even some great suggestions from some of the people on this panel. If it didn't wind up on there, it's just because I haven't seen it, so I couldn't really speak intelligently on it. I think it's pretty good. It's interesting, and it's got some cool stuff about shows that you may have not have seen. So if you're of a mind, please check that out. Please like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Let me know what you thought of these 2 episodes and what we had to say about it. I think we had some good discussion. I want to thank everybody on the panel for coming out and showing me some love. I do so appreciate it. Looks like Northern had to jump off real quick, but Critter and Toonie, thank you guys so much for coming on and doing this with me. Especially Critter, because it's early in the morning and I know he's got kiddos and stuff like that. Oh, there he is.
Naps. I have to do naps.
And you have to do naps and all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate it more than I can say, guys. It helps out a lot to have somebody bounce ideas off. I mean, I could get on here and just riff about Buffy all day long, but when you have some people to bounce the stuff off with, it's pretty cool. But that aside, I think that's going to do us for today. Please, if you are of a mind, check out these guys' channels, check out my channel, leave a comment. It really helps out a lot. And until next time, stay toxic and check out the Buffyverse. You won't be sorry.
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You are the Slayer. Into each generation, a Slayer is born.
Why don't we start with, hi, I'm Buffy.
Xander.
Cordelia. Willow, right?
Mr. Giles.
Angel.